and welcome to the Chicago Clubhouse Sportscast. Once again, if you don't know, this is the sports show where we think we know what we're talking about, but no, we don't know shit. Once again, my name is Emilio Bucks, and joining me again this week is the lady of the clubhouse, Miss Kristen Petit. What's good, Kristen?
I'm all right. How are you, Julio?
I'm doing well, up and down like seesaws, but we're here. And on the usual trio, Southside's own, the notorious T. Nick.
What's up?
Nothing much, brother. And I'd like to also introduce our special guest host rocking with us this week. Just appreciate him being here. Tone, it's a blessing to have you here. T. Nick, can you tell us how you connected with Tone?
The gram. I hit him on the gram.
See, this how real he is.
I listen to GCI almost every 3 times a week because I try to stay in tune with the younger folks. I'm a little older now. I'm 45.
He's a lot older. He's a lot older, so he tries.
Hey, okay, that's enough. I didn't need you to co-sign that.
Kapone
I didn't need
is like
you
a
co-sign.
GCI legend. He's a Chicago radio legend.
Yeah, he's not local no more. He's big time now. But yeah,
Not local.
Gram, and he didn't
Not
big
local.
time me. He was like, yeah,
What's up, man?
I'm with you. So I really appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
No problem, man. It's my pleasure, man. I know what it's like to be, trying to create something, and sometimes you feel like people can't reach out, and you can't reach out to certain people. Man, I try to make myself as accessible as I can. You know what I mean? As much as I can, because I appreciate the craft. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a radio guy. I appreciate the craft, and anything I can do to help people out, trying to lend my name to their platform and maybe elevate it a little bit more. Then hey, why not?
Man, appreciate that, brother. Man.
Appreciate
you
it.
already know, man, and that means a lot, man. Like being from the city, you know what I mean. You born and bred here, man. So that's what's up, man.
Actually, I know you don't remember me, but we actually kind of grew up a little bit in Country Club Hills.
That's why I'm wondering. I'm like, she looking familiar? I'm like, yo, I hope I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I was like,
There's a setup. There's like cheaters or
but
some
I'm
shit.
like,
Like, we
yo.
got your ass.
I was like, uh-oh. Wait a minute.
Kristen, go get the baby. Go get the baby.
No, yeah, that's
we could.
I did grow up in Country Club Hills, man. It's a lot of people, and we were just talking about this. If you hear the noise in the background, I apologize. I'm in the studio. My daughter's becoming a singing sensation at this moment. So we're doing that.
That's what's up.
We're doing that. But it's, Country Club Hills the South Suburbs has a lot of stars. A lot of people came from there, man. And where do we know each other from?
So your mom used to come over with the Avon, and you would come to our house. And I knew your mom when she was at KinderCare, and you lived right around us. So you were always on the block with me and my brother Chris. You might remember him a little more than me. But yeah, we knew you as Anthony. And so
Dang, you said that man's government name.
Yeah. I'll take that.
We'll bleep that out for you, Tom.
But it's all good because, like, if I got to give you credit. I say that all the time to people, especially if my mom sold Avon. That's my mom was a real hustler. And you can definitely call me Anthony in private anytime. But I can always know people that know me from back then, because they'll say Anthony, they'll say Tony. I ran into another fellow South Suburban person just on the street in LA, and he's done some great things. LT Hutton, and he literally yelled. He's like, Anthony. I was like, wait, and I knew because of the way he said it. I was like, oh my goodness, it's LT Hutton, and me and LT have since then reconnected. That happened years back, but another person has done great things. Produced for Snoop, Death Row Records. Did just most recently the Tupac movie. So he's a shining light from the South Suburbs, Beacon Hill to be exact. Yeah, we got a lot of dope people from the city and from the burbs.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So, man, let's jump into some of this Bears talk, brother. You know what I mean? Like, we in the playoffs. First and foremost, we're in the playoffs.
On life
we live
support.
another week.
We on life support.
We on life support, but we ain't dead. We you know what I mean? Hey. So what are your feelings? Like, I know you've kept up during the whole season. It's been a roller coaster. How do you think this ends?
How do I think it ends? I think it ends with a loss, but a good loss, though, if there's a such thing. If there's a such thing.
That.
So it's not getting blown out. That's my thing.
Competing
is a better word. Competing, and I feel like the Bears have been trying to find their identity, and I feel like benching Mitch was really good because Mitch got to sit back and watch, and he felt that pressure. Like, yo, if next time I get a chance at this and I don't show up, I'm gone. You know what I mean? It looked bad. He came back. You got to give it to him. Mitch still has accuracy issues. He still has problem reading defenses. I'm not very confident with him in the red zone, which is really where you got to be the most accurate at, and that's his biggest fault is accuracy.
Right.
I feel like the Bears, after a loss, but we might win, who knows? But if we do lose, I feel like the Bears should bring in a veteran or bring somebody in to challenge Mitch. I also feel like they have to sign Allen Robinson to a longer. He's a dog. Mooney has shown he's a talent, and I also believe it sounds weird. It sounds weird, and maybe it's not him, but somebody. You need another receiver. Maybe it's OBJ. Maybe it's somebody.
Another big body. They need another big body. They need another big dude.
You need something that'll help make it easier for Mitch, because Mitch needs to throw to receivers that have a little bit more separations. He's not a tight window thrower.
No, absolutely not.
And also, another big body, good receiver will make the defense won't be able to double Allen Robinson like they did yesterday.
Facts. And that's it. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily. I maybe don't agree with the big body receiver. I think as Allen's a big guy, I think you just need another guy that demands you to shade to his side. If that makes sense, you got to be able to play the Bears honest. Right now, we know that it's either Allen Robinson or Mooney or our tight ends, and you need somebody over there. Like I said, maybe LBJ is a little too high profile, so maybe you find somebody in the draft that can help Allen Robinson out. And again, for me, if I was a GM, I would be picking someone that can get separation because, again, Mitch has accuracy issues.
So what do you think are the chances, this being Mitch's final year of his contract, what do you think the chances that Mitch, Nagy, Pace, they get another shot? And like you said, like anything can happen. If they win Sunday, or even if they compete Sunday, do these guys get invited back? I mean, who we know for sure is going to be a quarterback on the Bears next year is Nick Foles.
Hey,
so now do you?
Oh my God!
Cut him.
That's a lot of money.
That dude is terrible.
You know what?
A lot of money.
But the Eagles may be looking for somebody, so he can go on back there.
They can have him back. Take him, please.
We'll take Carson Wentz, right?
No,
I don't know about that part.
That's too much money for too long. Like, you can sign Mitch Mitch can be your bridge guy if you bring him back, because there really isn't that much better that's gonna be cheap, because the Bears don't have a lot of salary cap. They'll get a little extra money when they add that 17th game, which will help if they want to bring back Allen Robinson, but they don't really have money to get any of the quote unquote higher price free agent quarterbacks that may or may not even be available.
Yeah, and we might have lost our chance at re-signing Allen Robinson, because why would he come back to a team with such a, that has quarterback issues? You know what I mean? It's like, well, he can go get probably more.
I think he likes Chicago. I think he actually absolutely likes Chicago. I think they have offended him, I think, by not just coming and saying, hey, let's go redo your deal.
By waiting.
Yeah.
That has an effect on someone like, yo, I'm the only person balling on your team. I am the offensive person. Montgomery must have watched tape over these past 3 weeks and found out how to be an NFL running back. And not to be shade, not to shade him, but you watch football. He was jumpy in the holes instead of just hitting the holes.
And just hitting the holes. Yes.
Yep.
Now he's hitting the holes, and he looks great. He's showing his athleticism. I think he's going to be good for us. So, but as far as Allen Robinson is concerned, back to our original point, is that they have to find some way to mend that fence. I hope it's not dead, because I mean, receivers of his caliber, you just don't find walking the street. It's hard to get those persons in the people in the draft. And let's just keep it a buck. Over the last couple years, the Bears have not drafted well. They have not drafted well. They got Mooney right, but in a sense of for me as a Bears fan, it's frustration. The frustration mounts because we cannot find an offensive weapon, like a real weapon, a real deal weapon, and we need that.
Yeah.
So who do we draft on the offensive side? We drafted Mitch. Who's the tight end?
Mooney. Cole Kmet, Mooney,
right.
Drafted Montgomery.
Kevin, did Brian Pace draft Kevin White?
Kevin White.
Yeah, he drafted Kevin White, man. Right? That was his first pick.
I think did he draft Anthony? Did he draft Anthony Miller?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And
it's up and down.
Yeah, up and down.
Don't get me started with the Mitch Trubisky thing. Like
oh man, we can't even. Yeah,
I was off of that Mitch. I was so upset about Mitch in a way, and no shade to Mitch, and it's not his fault. The Bears put him in a bad position. They put him in a bad position
to be
a starting quarterback of a franchise after the Bears, of legendary franchise, a person that wasn't even the best quarterback, the third best quarterback in his conference. Daniel Jones was better than him as a freshman,
right,
or sophomore at that time.
Yep.
So I mean, and then you don't draft Watson, and you see what he's doing with a bad offensive line, loses his number one receiver, and they're still competitive. Those type of people don't happen to fall off the tree every like 20 years. So it's crazy, man. It's I don't know. What do you guys think? How do they fix it?
Well, first of all, they weren't willing to hand the keys over to one of the brothers and make the brother the face.
That is so right. They don't want no
keep it real.
Nick.
I mean, just keep it real. Like, they knew, like, okay, it's a new day. We're going to draft a quarterback, and he's going to be the face of the franchise. Who do we want as the face? They didn't want one of the brothers as the face. I mean, even Mahomes, I'm like, he's half there. Like, come on. They could have split the difference and had an MVP Super Bowl winning quarterback. They wouldn't even split the difference. I'm sorry. I think I cut T-Nick off.
Well, I was just saying a bad word anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So how can they fix it? Well, if they can't work out a contract this year, they can franchise Allen Robinson. So you can bring him back for one more year at least, and then possibly mend those fences and show him a plan or whatever. So you can keep him if you want to. I think if you use Mitch as your bridge quarterback, if you keep him, you have to keep Allen Robinson. So if Mitch comes back, Allen Robinson's going to be franchised because that's his go-to. And whenever you hear Mitch talk, he says that's one of his very good friends, and we win when he gets the ball. Like I said earlier, you can tell he was not happy with the fact that his number wasn't called enough yesterday. So I think if you bring back Mitch, it's no guarantee. And it's no guarantee that Mitch would even want to sign. I mean, there's going to be some places where he could possibly go. A lot of people have taken notice that if you get the right people around him, he's not a franchise-changing quarterback. We all know that. We knew that when they drafted him. So, but they have seen if you get the right people around him, you get the right plays called, he can be good enough with a supporting cast.
He can manage a game.
So, I mean, I think he loves it here and he loves these players, so he would be willing. I think he would be willing to consider it. But, yeah, if you bring back Mitch as the bridge, Allen Robinson has to get franchised if you can't resign him.
Now, is this them cutting Nick Foles, though, Kristen, if they bring Mitch back?
Or finding a trade partner.
I just can't
imagine. Who the fuck is going to trade for him?
I just can't imagine going in the next season with both Mitch and Nick Foles on the roster. Those are like again.
But we
Stevie
already
Wonder even trade for him.
no, there's
Terrible.
there's dumb GMs all over the place. The Bears aren't the
Stevie was
dumbest. I mean, there's plenty. There's plenty who be like, you know what? We could use this veteran who can't do anything, who
Well,
can't
shit,
move.
I got a beach house in Idaho to sell them there.
Well, somebody.
I
might
mean,
bring some
Nick
sand in.
Foles has a good agent because he's finessed a few teams.
Yeah.
Now, so,
I mean, he got a lot of money.
It's all a business. You know what I mean?
So,
He'll be
but
all right.
I think one of the scariest things that because of their reputation we don't talk about enough is the decline, and it's more than just being tired. The decline of the quality of the defense. It's
Absolutely.
It's
I gotta jump in on this, but I hope I didn't step on it, but I had to jump in. I just feel like, you know, I only played defense in high school for a few years, but it just anytime a defense has a offense that doesn't score, I mean, I get it, it's tired, but I think it's unmotivated. It's unmotivated. A couple 3 and outs, and you looking crazy because you know, as a Bears defender, that Aaron Rodgers, no matter what defense you are, he's going to hang points on you. So especially in this type of NFL, they're constantly throwing the ball in a way that we would never seen. I haven't seen in the past 3 years, the way the ball moves constantly and the way the points get hung up there. So a lot of times, if you 3 and out and then you going right back out there, those defenders they unmotivated because they know eventually they're going to break. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right. Towards the end of the season, towards the end of the season, the injuries start mounting up because they got way more time on the field. Yeah, man. I mean, that's just almost like a human response to it. Yeah.
I agree in a sense, but that's where all the money is. And you want to talk about someone who finessed? Look on the other side of Khalil Mack. That is a finesse. So, I mean, even when he gets pressure, he runs past the quarterback. So you're still not getting to anybody. Okay, yeah, you ran past him.
Wait a minute.
But that
sounds like.
Oh, that's not fair. And I'm going to tell you what the Bears did to mess the defense up and mess Khalil Mack up.
No, I'm talking about Robert Quinn. No, I'm not talking about Khalil.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Khalil.
No, I said look on the other side of
Khalil. Okay.
No.
Kristen,
I was about to say.
I thought you were coming over to what I've been saying about Khalil Mack.
I said
you're on that island. You're on the island, dog.
No, I said look on the other side. No, Khalil has been slightly disappointing, but I was talking about finessing money is Robert.
Okay,
Quinn.
Robert Quinn.
That was a finesse.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yes,
and
indeed.
he's the one who
indeed.
knows. Khalil Mack knows not to run past the quarterback when he's rushing. Right. He may not get him, but he's running towards him. Robert Quinn, if you always see him, he's flailing with his arms running past him, man. Well, you're not going to
taking the long route, right?
Yeah.
Give it effort, I guess.
It's crazy. They shouldn't have. I don't know if you guys agree. You can tell me if you agree. I feel like losing Leonard Floyd was a big deal.
Yeah. Especially the way he's playing now.
Yes, because of the way he's playing now, but
because of the way he's playing
based on what he did last year, like everybody
before.
was all good. It didn't seem like a bad idea when they let him go last year because he played like shit last year. But now he's like beasting out. It's like, wow, okay, where was that?
Is it Chuck Pagano's defense that has made Eddie Jackson a non-factor and what made Leonard Floyd a non-factor last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Eddie Jackson. There we go. Somebody's
Eddie Jackson, yes.
It is 100%
definitely ruined Eddie Jackson.
Yeah. But I said, look, Leonard Floyd, now let's just look at it. And it makes sense. Really good 1 year. Then we get new defensive coordinator. And all of a sudden, Eddie Jackson's not a ball hawking safety anymore. Leonard Floyd has his worst year, and now he's in another defense that fits his talents, and he's looking great. So he's been significant for us for a minute. I just feel like they should have gave him a break. And we do need a new defensive coordinator because I think the defense it doesn't have the excitement that it had before. No. It doesn't have the pop. It doesn't seem like it's, aggressive. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you guys think.
You know, Eddie
it's
Jackson's so
problem,
much of a non-factor. He's shocked when the ball is there. He can't even catch him anymore. He can't even
get an INT when he does get a chance.
Yeah,
he can't tackle either.
He's a terrible tackler.
At all.
Oh my God. Well, he
At
always
all.
was.
He tackles with this.
Yeah, that was always the knock on him is physicality. Like he wasn't the best in tackling, but now he can't even catch. I mean, there were 3 interceptions that should have been had yesterday.
He's like Deion Sanders.
Yeah,
and
then
don't
when
want no smoke. No smoke.
And when he does make an interception and they're losing, he wants to try to get the team to dance.
Yeah. All right, you can't say that about Deion Sanders. That is slander at the highest
level. You know, Deion never wanted any smoke. Never.
Deion. Now this is a person that I'm sensitive about Deion because when I did try to play cornerback in my lifetime, I thought I was Deion Sanders, far off of him. But Deion, when you're that good, you don't really have to tackle when you can shut down the whole field. The side of the field, just think about it. Deion was not physical. He didn't he jammed up a little bit at the line, swiped at your feet to tackle you, but nobody threw to his side. No one.
True. That's
true.
And
every time that they tried him, he came up with the ball.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. That is true.
You don't have to be physical if you ball hawk, and they from Eddie Jackson, so like there's just not as much left there anymore.
Not free to roam like he could with Vic Fangio's defense, and so he's not there to make the big plays. And also, you know, Roquan, there's a rumor that he dislocated his elbow. That's going to be tragic if he doesn't play.
Yeah,
and
I could. Yeah, that looked bad.
Really missing Jaylon Johnson because that Vildor and
Shelley was getting smoked.
Man, he was getting cooked up. Flambéed.
They were burying him, but they just had a luau with this man.
My God.
It was on this man. And he picked him out. He's like, I'm going to him every time.
His eyes lit up.
Every time. That's how I know his name because he was just getting flambéed.
You see the back of his jersey, yep.
I feel so bad for him. I like at some point he had to say, you know what? You know that thing that's smoking is you, bro.
he should
smoking you.
Just fall out like I'm in. Let somebody else get embarrassed. I'm done.
That nigga was getting flambéed, and the dude that came in for Roquan, Josh Woods. Oh my God,
that's my guy. That's my guy.
That's your guy.
Well, tell him
your guy got cooked.
He was so lost.
He just didn't look like he didn't know where to be.
Like,
you know what I mean? He didn't know who to follow.
Oh my God.
Like, he was like, what am I doing? Like he was like hyped. You could tell he was hyped to get in the game, but he didn't focus in on like, okay, like what's the set? You know what I mean? He was just like excited.
But on that play though, why did they do they had a 0 formation, so there was no safety help. And dude got flambéed. Oh my God!
Is that when Duke Shelley came in and he wasn't quick enough with his blitz? Was that the one?
That was the play. That was the play where they had no safeties back there, and then Aaron Rodgers he rolled out a little bit and he hit right down the seam, and Josh Woods got his ass cooked.
He didn't follow him he looked back.
That's right.
He thought he had help.
Yeah.
He thought he had help. You
could tell he thought he had help. He did not.
He didn't even like try to like halfway knock the dude off the route or nothing. He was just like
nothing.
The Bears.
He just kind of pat him and like, all right, go ahead.
Why do the Bears defenders always think they have help? And they're the least helpful defense ever. Like,
never have help.
They're always like, I got help. No, you don't, fool. You don't. Okay, you never have help
on your own. All of you.
You're always on an island. They just need to remember that. Like, I have no help ever.
Man. So before we wrap up with your Tone, what's your pick for Sunday, brother? I mean, you rolling
life
with the
support
whole
me.
I'm gonna just go with the Bears. I'm gonna Bear it out.
Bears.
Just
I'm
play it out.
Bear it out, man. I'm a
just
homer.
bear it out.
I'm a homer for everything. So life's been hard. But I do have a hot take though.
Okay.
All right.
I do have a hot take.
We want
the
hot
Super
take.
Bowl champion will be, and I bet this on FanDuel. I hope they don't get in trouble for saying that here. Is the Buffalo Bills.
Interesting.
They are
Buffalo
arguably
Bills.
the hottest team,
Yeah.
the hottest team in the NFL right now.
The Buffalo Bills.
If it was a different team, I would say yes, but because it's the Bills, I'm gonna be like, nah, they're gonna build it up. They're gonna build it up at some point.
You say they gonna build it up.
How
That
about
fine
it?
Diggs is balling though, man.
He is balling. But
Josh Allen.
the Bills, they're gonna build it up somehow.
That
But
Bills
I
gonna
like what
build.
they put together. I like what they put together, man. You know what I mean? I like the team. I don't dislike the team, but this, you know, it's just like it's like the Bears. Yeah,
That's a good hot take.
That's a good hot take. I like the Bears. I like the Bears.
You know, and call me on it now. If they don't win, then I'll take my lumps.
You're gonna get all
Right,
these
man.
tags like with all the memes.
I'm gonna be hitting you back like Tone. You gotta come on back, man. We gonna
Right.
We gonna use you as dart practice.
Before we let you go, so tell us about you're in the studio and anything you have coming up or anything we should be looking out for. I know you also have a podcast, right?
Yes, I do. Thank you for asking. It's the What More Can I Say podcast. The new episodes will start next week on Tuesday. Something we developed during the pandemic. Myself, Kiki, and Zach Bug. It's been a cool dynamic, and people will enjoy it. It's us having some funny conversations, the same way you guys are doing here. It's a lot of fun, so check it out. It's at What More Can I Say podcast. Also, always follow me at Tone Kapone 33. The whole thing, it's pretty much the same. Listen to me on GCI now. I'm on from 12 to 6.
Damn.
I dominate the whole afternoon.
Got it locked down.
What happened to Frankie Robinson?
Yeah, unfortunately, due to the COVID situation, we lost Frankie. Budget cuts.
Oh, okay.
Budget cuts. Frankie is alive and well. God bless my sister. Right. It hurt me to see. I've been, me and Frank been together for quite a bit of time. She was over at Power 92, and she came on for before me there, and then we moved over to GCI together. So it made me feel away for a little bit, but unfortunately, that's our business. It's the business that we chose, and it's I always tell people, the best thing you can do in this business is to always understand, one, you don't own them antennas, you don't own the stuff that you own. So you always have to kind of keep yourself, in a sense, available for other opportunities. Always make sure you're making the right connections and other relationships. So in case something like this happens, you'll be able to move on. And again, it's just that tough part of the business. It's an unfortunate part of the business. I've been blessed to not have to, see that part because God's giving me that opportunity. But yeah, it's 12 to 6 now, and it was bittersweet, but it also is an opportunity for me to show what I can do for even more time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
Hey, Tone.
Yep.
Whatever happened to Shaq Nice?
So Shaq, he's still on Instagram. You can hit him up. He for sure come on the podcast. Shaq just got real tired of radio, and that happens to people. We have been doing it for a very long time, and as a duo, and the Hot Boys, I think, and it's crazy, and I appreciate it that you guys call me a legend, and I've been hearing that a lot lately, and that makes me feel really good, because that makes me feel like all the time I spent away from my family, and all of the times when I was tired and I didn't want to go to work, and I went in there, that you guys appreciated that, and for people to even consider me to be something like a legend, that's super cool, and that legend never could be even written without Shaq Nice. We did our thing. I think as far as duos go, I think we were one of the top duos in the country. I think the things that we accomplished together I don't think anybody can really look at it and say, nah. No. I mean, we were the only two. We were only on the radio from 4 to 10. I remember that 4 to 10. It was 4 to 10 on Sundays, and then we ended up on the Parkers. We did something.
I saw your episode on the Parkers recently.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. You can watch it. You can watch it. You can watch it.
You getting a check? You get a check from that?
Man, I get a whole $12.
Okay, well, hey, man, hand's better than hand, brother. Times is hard. $12.
Right.
Get you
right. Yeah. So you get the little $12 check, but it was a great opportunity. We did Sucker Free Sundays. We auditioned for TRL. Me and him auditioned. We did, we've done we got a real story. And again, like Shaq he got tired and took a step back. I'm right now still trying to get him to get back. I want him to get back. I think, to be honest with you, I really think Shaq is the future of urban AC radio, if that makes sense. I think Shaq is a very, very knowledgeable music dude, like for real, like old school, old stuff, new stuff. He's just like a music dude. He's a library. He doesn't really forget much. So I feel like that in that space, because as we look at people like Steve Harvey getting a little older, there's a lot of people in that space getting older. Him being at the age he is, in the space that he is, I think he can offer a fresh take to radio and in that urban AC space. So, who knows what 2021 has, but I've been really cheerleading his calls to be back. I want to hear him back on the radio.
Me too.
It's all good.
That would be dope.
Good, man. It's good to have somebody like you out there showing support to everybody, man. Big clubhouse round of applause for Mr. Tone Kapone.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you, my brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
And hey, man, we're gonna be looking out for that demo that y'all working on. I hear that something going. So,
hey, I'll be watching that podcast. I'll be watching that.
Yeah, please watch the podcast when the music drops. I'll be putting it on my page. That's the best way to support your brother, man. Just get on that Instagram, man. And if you see something, share it and pass it along. That's the blessing I ask for y'all.
Right now, we are in the Chicago Clubhouse podcast with a former Chicago Bear, and we love when we have former players on the team, but it's always extra special when they're actually from the city. Southsider, Sox fan, Mr. Chris Zorich. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, buddy.
Welcome. Thank you, sir, for coming and taking the time to talk with us. See, you got your bikes in the background. You got the man cave going on. Oh, man, we just want to talk some football, a little bit about maybe something else that you might have going on, and
I was going to talk about Notre Dame. No, I'm kidding. No,
okay.
I'm kidding. We can talk about Notre Dame getting their ass kicked. That's fine.
Yeah, well, you know what? I know Notre Dame fans. There's no such thing as a casual Notre Dame fan. It's like if you're a Notre Dame fan, it's like it's like blood. It's life and death. So
you go
and it's
hard.
sad because what they say is like, how do you know somebody is from Notre Dame? They tell you, which is, it's bad. Hey, I'm Chris. I'm from Notre Dame. It's like, wow, really?
Right.
We're at the supermarket, really? I'm getting my lunch. What are you talking about?
I remember what Papa's thing was. What our grandfather, we couldn't like Notre Dame when we were younger.
Because?
It just was a thing. What's your favorite college football team? Whoever's playing Notre Dame. What's his name?
That hurts.
And we've gone with that all our lives.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Hurts.
I wasn't gonna.
I felt comfortable enough with them to say it.
Terrence, you got are you on the bandwagon as well, Terrence?
No. I thought Notre Dame was actually a good football team. Maybe not this season, but in the past, yeah, I like Notre Dame.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I don't dislike Notre Dame, but we were taught that.
And my dad, he liked Notre Dame too.
Why don't you?
Hold on, Amelia, hold on. I know your dad just passed. I apologize about that. But as he was teaching you about sports, kind of got you hyped up. Did he not like Notre Dame, or?
He did not like Notre Dame.
All right.
My dad did not like Notre Dame, the Cowboys, or the Niners. They were
He's a true Bear fan, huh?
forever on his shit list. And of course Green Bay, but like
Of course.
you know, but I was a kid, I just did what I was told.
However, so I retired in '97, but I was watching a Bears-Packers game a couple years after that, and Favre was still playing. And they had a stat that talked about the time that Favre was with Green Bay and the quarterbacks that the Bears had. And it was there was like 14 or 15 quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks that the Bears had
random
during the time. I mean, it was like Moses Moreno, Peter Tom Willis. I mean, Harbaugh, you guys know, but I mean, there were a whole bunch of like dudes that
Steve
started.
Stenstrom.
Exactly. I mean, it was
we had
carousel.
Right. We had a used Cordell Stewart.
The fact that someone's name was the quarterback's name was Peter Tom Willis, that's just
See? Florida State guy. Actually, he's a great golfer. But how about so this is the challenge, right? Is that, I mean, I grew up watching the Bears, so I understood the rivalry. You know, I remember when I forgot the linebacker's name, but do you remember the linebacker who slammed Peyton over the bench?
Yeah. Pushed him. I don't remember his name.
Right. And then I remember, I think it was the guy who slammed Jim McMahon.
Charles
Martin. Okay.
Charles Martin on Green Bay. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Never
like,
that.
That's my understanding of rivalry. But, like, the last, 25 years? I mean, is it really a rivalry?
we get spanked every time.
Mocked. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is what was it? She's 20-something and 5 or something worse.
I mean, is that truly a rivalry?
No.
A rivalry meant back and forth, you know?
Yeah.
That's what
I guess you're right. That damn.
You know, like Notre Dame and Michigan.
Exactly.
But yeah, the Packers and the Bears, I don't see the rivalry anymore. We just get our asses spanked every time.
But you know what, man? When I go down there and the rare time I get to a game, you constantly hear people walking through the tunnel yelling, "Fuck Green Bay. Fuck Green Bay." Like
every game.
They're not even playing Green Bay.
Right. We're not even playing Green Bay.
I've never seen them play
game.
Green Bay, but every time I go there, that's what they're yelling. I'm like, but that's how,
whether we
like,
win or lose, they're yelling, "Fuck Green Bay. Fuck Green Bay." You know?
That's right.
Well, this is how bad I am, right? So when I was being recruited by Notre Dame, I mean, I didn't know about college football or anything like that when I was being recruited, but I thought Notre Dame was in France. And it's the honest God is truth, right? So I'm at CVS, and literally, if you jumped on a skyway, it's like 91 miles, like from CVS. So how the hell did I think Notre Dame is in France?
Well, you were a good football player. I saw that.
France is pretty close.
Close enough.
Oh boy!
Hey man, you figured it out, man.
I'm sorry. So how about them Bears? My bad.
Oh man,
that's better to talk about.
Oh wait, one more thing. We talk about Green Bay. Didn't Lovey in his press conference said we got to beat Green Bay, like in his press conference?
Yeah, that was one of the first things he said.
Yes, he did.
I mean, so at least we got somebody that understands it. At least, you know? And I think he had a pretty good
the importance.
He did. He beat Green Bay.
See.
I mean, I think Nagy's Bears.
Then they fired him
once too.
Once.
Nagy never beat. When did Nagy beat the Packers?
I think they beat the Packers once.
The first year. First year when we, like that good year.
Yeah.
You know,
2018.
So
Nagy's first year.
That was the year that shouldn't have happened, right?
The second time,
Talk
correct?
about
Because
pressure.
they lost the first game. They lost the Sunday night.
They lost the first game.
Week 1.
That's when we thought Khalil Mack was gonna be a monster.
I mean, and for that season, he was. I mean,
he
not
was.
that he
Yeah.
isn't.
You got to admit,
That's
though,
it.
I mean, because I thought that shit was crazy when they traded 2 first-round draft picks for Khalil Mack. I was like, what the? I mean, that's crazy, right? But then the first game against Green Bay, he had like a sack, a fumble recovery, and
Right.
like he had 2 sacks, a fumble recovery. He was like, oh, that's why. Okay.
Right. It was like,
Right.
He was
Yeah.
amazing.
worth it.
Yeah.
I'm not hating on him, by the way. I'm not hating on him. Khalil is he is somewhat of a monster, but this season, I mean, he's been locked up.
Oh, is that what it was?
Well,
Okay. All right.
Well, no, you tell us what it is
You
then.
tell us.
Yeah,
I knew I'd be coaching.
let us know.
You know?
Let us know.
I don't know. Where do you want to start? I mean, I think that, in my personal opinion, I mean, Nagy's first year was just out of control. I mean, he wins NFL Coach of the Year. I mean, he does everything, right? And the expectations, I mean, Bear fans, of course, you know, win or die, but the expectations were like off the charts, right? And even when, like, I think it was his first year when he wound up sitting the starters in the preseason, I want to say like after the second game or something like that. And everybody's like, whoa, what the hell's going on? And then all of a sudden, he has this amazing year. And we're like, oh, okay, let him do what he wants to do. And then all of a sudden, it was like, crazy.
Well, it was that the year after after Nagy got Coach of the Year, the year after, Mitch didn't play in preseason at all, right?
Okay.
He didn't have any of his starters.
Nope.
Whole preseason.
The whole
Like-
preseason.
Like,
And at the end, he
like
said
he was just
mistake.
sitting on this juggernaut. Like,
Yeah.
we're just going in raw dog, ready.
Well, I mean, we can start with that pick. I mean, dude played 9 games his senior year
Yeah.
and sat by the guy who I forgot who started at North Carolina the year before that. Forgot his name, but I think he played in the CFL or something like that. I don't know what happened, but I mean, how do you trade up? And I think they trade up one or 2 picks to get him.
Mm-hmm.
So-
I
Yeah.
mean, like, what did you see in him that no one else
Like-
saw, right?
And then
Yeah.
John Lynch played their ass because he wasn't gonna pick him. He played him. Like, yeah, I'm pick him. If y'all don't trade me that pick, I'm gonna pick.
I would love to play
So-
poker with John Lynch, right? I mean, you want him on your team, right?
So I'm going to throw this out there. I believe it was Max Kellerman. He was talking about this or whatever. Like, oh, you passed on this because of how Mitch looked, and all the other GMs were like, no, we weren't going to pick him. He's claiming that a lot of other GMs were looking at Mitch, that a lot of teams were looking at Mitch over Mahomes and Watson. Now, we'll never know, because who would admit to that shit? But he says, no, there was a lot of teams who wanted Mitch over the other two amazing quarterbacks.
You know, it's a fraternity of coaches. So at the end of the day, you know, they're going to take care of their guys, right? You know,
Yeah.
I was looking at him. Yeah. Oh, you got him. My bad.
I mean, they
Big,
may
right.
have been looking at him as an option.
Mahomes. How do you put Mahomes? Yeah, I'll take that guy.
I mean, so unless they were just like gassing Ryan Pace the whole time. Oh man, like I'm going after him. Like, you better trade
I'm
up.
sure after the Bears made that pick, everybody's drafting was like, "What the? Whoa, this is great!
Y'all leave my
That's
Mitch
what
alone.
John Lynch did. Yeah, man, he's good, man. He's great. Ryan Pace was like, really?
You're a Mitch fan?
I want him.
I am.
You are.
I mean, I know he's not great, but yeah, I am.
You tell.
I mean, I am a fan of Mitch. In the beginning, I was always team Mitchell. I still am. Do I think he should have been picked over those other 2? Absolutely not. But I mean, he's here. So I ride with whatever quarterback. I was riding with Nick Foles, that terrible experiment. When he got the job, I was riding with him. But yeah, I know Mitch has limitations. Like, I understand that whenever I like anyone who has limitations, they can still be one of my favorite players, and like, wish you could do better, wish you made better decisions.
Kristen likes character guys.
There you go.
I also like some jerks too, but not.
That's true.
Not. I do tend to like guys that are kind of good guys. But you know, one of the things that we found out, I forgot if it was Ian Rappaport or someone reported that Matt Nagy started taking back some of the play calling, and I think we kind of saw that during the game.
Yeah. All right.
So I think he needs to stop. They were more successful when he wasn't. But that was reported that he's gotten a little bit more involved in the play calling. But Chris, I wanted to ask you a question about, you know, people are saying the Bears backed in, that they backed in. If you were one of the players, does that, number one, insult you that people are saying that, yeah, you got in, you're lucky, blah, blah, blah. But once you're in, how do you feel as a player? You know, you're 8-8, you had a deflating kind of loss, but now you're in the playoffs. So how do you take that? How do you feel?
So that's a great question. However, before I answer that, let me give you a framework of the playoffs in the locker room. Okay. So when I was there, we had Dave Wanstead, which was the worst head coach ever, right? But
I'm glad you
made the
said
playoffs in like, I think 93 or something like that.
Wow.
And pardon?
No, I was just saying Wani because that's what they call him.
Yeah. Wani with his mustache, right? So
a lot of mustache.
Yeah, so we made the playoffs, and guys were thinking about not playing because at that time you got $10,000 for the first round of the playoffs. And so guys were getting, so, all right, so at the end of the day, the football season is 16 weeks. You only get paid during the season. So a guy making $5 million, like his weekly game check is like $200,000, something like that, right? So you got a lot of these guys who were stars. They're like, man, I'm not playing for $10,000 this week. Forget that. And they were talking, like, there was a group of them that were talking about like not playing. So the idea that, I mean, it's a business, but the idea that you had guys that were normally would get, let's say, like $100,000 or $150,000, let's say, just at an average, didn't think that they would. Why would they want to play if I'm only going to get 10% of what I normally get? So that was the mindset in the locker room. I was like, what the hell? I was like, dude, we made the playoffs. Like, let's go.
right.
So that's the reference. However, I came from a winning program in college. Okay. Now, granted, it was 30 years ago, but we won a national championship. We were good, right? So my first game with the Bears, I was on special teams and we lost. And I was in the locker room like, damn, I was upset. The guy came up to me and was like, dude, what are you upset about? I was like, dude, we lost. He's like, man, you ain't even played, man. What the hell are you doing? I was like, man, we lost. He's like, man, get dressed. I'm about to go to this party. And so, like, it was weird for me because, like, I mean, I wasn't like the great player, but I was a hard worker. And I played for my teammates. And so now, like, I'm in an environment where it didn't matter, like, if we won or lost. Like, all we wanted was a paycheck, and we about to go party after we got the shit beat out of us, So it was a weird experience for me. So I say all that to say, to answer your question, when you're playing, you understand you're supposed to be in charge of your own destiny, right? But if you back into a playoff opportunity, I mean, those guys are going to be should be as excited as if they actually made it on their own. Because now you start all over. And as we've seen this year, anybody could beat anybody this year, right? I mean, you had teams that, I mean, look at who was the first team to beat
the Steelers, right?
The Bengals.
Right.
The Bengals.
I didn't even think they won a game, and all of a sudden you're like, what?
Yeah.
So it is possible. Now, What are our chances? That's a different question. But to answer your question, yes. I mean, you want to make it. You want to go out there, even though you kind of backed into it. You want to go out there and really kind of prove yourself, because at the end of the day, you still feel that you're the best player out there, and you want your team to win, and you're going to do anything you can. Hopefully you'll do everything you can for your team to win. So to answer your question, yes. I mean, they are excited. However, in the back of their mind, they know that we kind of backed into this, but at the end of the day, they're going to try to make the best of the opportunity, because the best story in the world would be, hey, we just knocked off the Saints. This is great.
Right.
I hope that answers.
Any given Sunday, it could go down.
Do you guys think that the Saints had they won, they would have moved up and they would have faced the Seahawks? Do you guys think the Saints are a better matchup for them?
Is that for me or for everybody else?
You. Sorry.
I think that the Seahawks would beat the shit out of them anyway. So I mean, it's gonna be rough.
Either one will be rough.
But I prefer at least someone that we have played against before, because we know their tendencies more. We kind of understand their game plan more. And at the end of the day, it's always harder. It's hard to beat the same team twice, unless you're the Bears and you play Green Bay. But that's a whole thing.
Nothing's hard for Aaron Rodgers against the Bears.
Well, I mean, you love playing in Chicago, so you're like, oh, that's the reason why. Okay, because you never lose. My bad.
Right. He loves coming here and shitting on us. Yes, I would. If I was embroiled in this, yes, I would love it.
All you got to do is put the uniform on and you win. I mean, why not?
Even when the defenses were really good, he was destroying them by himself. He didn't need a turnover from the offense. He didn't need anything.
And at the end of the day, and those of us who have participated in sport, and this is any sport, you always want to compete against the best, right? So, for example, like the reason why Notre Dame was great this year was because they had a chance to beat Clemson in the regular season, but they didn't have a key player, right? But, you always want to have a chance to kind of beat the team at their best. And so, although Notre Dame won, I was excited about it, but I was kind of like, how much better would it have been had, the starting quarterback been in? However, the second team guy put up like 500 yards anyway. So, I mean, how worse could it have been, right? I mean, Trevor Lawrence goes up like 700 yards. And,
oh, my gosh. When you first got into the NFL, Chris, what was your I always ask everyone what was their welcome to the NFL moment. What was your welcome to the NFL moment?
Well, I think it was that situation where for me, it was like, I was always about winning. And then all of a sudden the guy was like, hey man, let's go out and party. And I'm like, dude, like we just lost. Like, does that matter? So that was the first part. But the second part was, and again, I went to Notre Dame, and so, we're on TV every week, and it's crazy environment. Our first away game, I forgot who we were playing, but I got off the bus, and, we just went in the hotel, and I'm like, the guy behind me, I was like, hey, man, where are all the fans at? And the dude laughed, he was a vet, dude laughed, and he said, man, this ain't Notre Dame, man, it's the Bears, man. We don't travel. But, at Notre Dame, shit, I mean, they had a list in our media guide for the following year. Every year they would list, like, the next year, they would list where the players were going to stay. And so every away game, when we went to the hotel, there were a couple hundred people like waiting for us to get off the bus.
Right. Because that's how serious that Notre Dame shit is. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, so then like when we were rolling at Notre Dame, like normally the campus starts hopping like around, Thursday, Friday, whatever. Man, when we were winning, man, people were there on Tuesdays. There were campers parked everywhere, and we would walk out of practice, and there'd be like hundreds of fans out there, like on a Tuesday. And you're like, damn, the game isn't until Saturday. What y'all doing?
That's crazy.
So, Kristen, to answer your question, I mean, it was kind of eye-opening for me that this was really a business, and that, so I would say, I've said this before, that, for me, the 3 years I played at Notre Dame, it was like, although I played 7 years with the Bears, which was a great experience, like the 3 years I played at Notre Dame, hands down, like the most amazing experiences I had playing football.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
would you say?
Hold on, I got one more point. And then
Okay.
I had a little problem because I was from Chicago. And then, like, everybody and their mother who I've known since I was like 3 are looking for tickets. It was ridiculous, man.
Right.
It was crazy. Crazy. People I didn't even know. Like, girls wouldn't talk to me in college, or excuse me, in high school. Hey, Chris, how you doing, Mama? How you doing? I'm like,
Of course.
Damn.
Some tickets.
Oh, well, it wasn't just tickets. Okay. Of course.
I
was like, wait a minute. Okay, so you wouldn't give me the time of day in high school. Now all of a sudden,
you're right.
Panties, like, damn, really?
Hey, Chris.
Exactly.
So, Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about what drove you? Because you started from the bottom in the city. You came from these mean streets, and look at you now. You're successful. You're smoking a stogie. You got bikes behind you. So talk a little bit about what drove you.
Well, I didn't really realize kind of how bad my situation was until I went to college. Because everybody in my neighborhood, like I grew up around 87th and Burnham, or excuse me, not 87th, but like 81st and Burnham, far southeast side. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the city, but like around Yates, and then maybe a mile and a half farther southeast. Mm-hmm. And then there was the IC tracks, and then it was interesting because where I grew up was all black, but then when you crossed the tracks, it was Mexican. And so there was our local park was called Russell Square Park, and like I think the Latin Kings kind of had that area, and then you kind of apprehensively had to go over there. But as you can see, I'm not the darkest person in the world, so I kind of passed a couple times, which saved me from getting my ass kicked. So, we were there, hop the fence to swim sometimes. But, for me, we all kind of lived the same life. There weren't a lot of, although there were some dads in the area, in my neighborhood, there weren't a lot. Like, no one really went to college. If it was a big deal. People have parties if you graduate from high school, like that was the end all be all. So the idea that I kind of had this great, and I had a great childhood. It was rough at times, but I thought it was great. And then I went to Notre Dame, and I was like, wow, you're not supposed to lock your dorm room door? Okay. You can leave your bike like unlocked, and you can come back tomorrow and be there? Damn, like, okay. It was just a different experience for me. Now, there were a lot of gangs, a lot of drugs. My mom got mugged a lot when we were in our neighborhood. And we kind of had this running story that was kind of funny. It's not going to sound funny, but when people would break into our apartment, we would kind of laugh and say, wow, they kind of walk in here and was like, damn, these people ain't got shit. So they would go to somebody else's house to kind of go rob their place. Well, so I say all that to say that, so when I got to Notre Dame, and my high school football coach, his name was John Pataki, and he actually came from Mount Carmel, and then, not that you would know the history of CVS.
I played with his son.
Oh, okay, great.
Mark
Which one,
Pataki.
Matt or?
Mark.
Okay.
Mark Pataki, yep.
Okay, and so Bernie O'Brien won like three or four city championships at CBS. And Coach Pataki was his assistant coach. And so when Bernie O'Brien retired, then he wound up taking over the program. And so, you got this 300-pound white dude who made you say yes or no, sir. There were a lot of gangbangers, and so our team, we started off with like 70 guys, and like the next day we were down to like 50. Instantly. He didn't tolerate anything. Everything was yes or no, sir. He would walk through the halls, and if he saw you with a girl, you get like do laps around the park. He would go to your teachers and see if you were acting up in class. I mean, this guy, he was a great, great mentor, right? And so, I mean, coming from him, he thrived on discipline. And he had to, because we had so many different distractions in our neighborhoods and our high schools. And so when I got to Notre Dame, the one thing I always talked about was keep your helmet on, because it's as if you're in war. And if you're in war, you know, you take an errant shot, you can get in trouble. So I remember my freshman year, during the summer, you know, it's like 120 degrees out there, and I got my helmet on, I'm on a sideline, and I'm ready to go in, and they're like, hey man, take your helmet off. I'm like, what, you know, it's what, what's gonna play? Hey, you're not even playing. Why you still got your helmet on, man? And so eventually the head trainer had to come over and say, Chris, take off your helmet. Here, you know, put this ice towel on your head, because, you know, we don't want you to have a heat stroke. So it was just a different environment for me. And then when I finally got on the field to play, I mean, I was trying to kill him, you know. And then it was funny because, and my mom hated this quote that my high school coach talked about, but when they interviewed my high school football coach when I was a freshman at Notre Dame, they said that, you know, you guys better watch out, because he has a hatred in his heart that he takes out on the field. And when my mom read that, she called me and was like, what are you talking about? I love my son. My son's a great kid, blah, 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 blah. It was hilarious.
Man, so it sounds like you had quite a road.
I have that lawyer background, so I tend to talk a lot. So when you ask a question, as Terrence and you and Kristen know, I kind of talk.
It's all good.
So you're giving us good stuff.
All right.
You're giving us good stuff, sir.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, you know, just to circle back around to this team, and you know, however you feel about it, we're in the playoffs and we got another game. What would be your keys to a Bears victory? Is it possible? Is it possible? I know it's not probable, but is it possible? I mean, so.
Well, I think anything is possible. You know, if somebody gets sick out of New Orleans, you know, if Drew Brees kind of sprains his ankle, getting on the bus or something like that, hey, anything's possible.
Sure.
Right? Somebody gets COVID, you know, I mean, we don't want to get COVID.
Like Alvin Kamara already has it.
You know, see, I mean, somebody has to go in quarantine for COVID. Oh, wow, Brees, not bad.
So you're saying you're saying it's gonna take some sort of like illness, act from God type of thing. That's the key to the victory.
I mean,
plague. We can go.
Plague.
We need to play like a perfect game. Like everybody needs to play perfectly, right? In order.
That's about as likely as a plague or whatever.
Right, exactly, right. But that's the idea, right? I mean, everybody wants to do a perfect play, but the challenge is, I mean, even if we play our best, or if we play perfectly, you know, where does that put us on the level of New Orleans, right? So even if everybody has a perfect play every play, are we going to win that play? Are we going to win that series? Are we going to get that first down? Are we going to get that sack every time? And I think that's where the challenge is that teams like the Bears right now, if they don't play perfectly every play, then there's a possibility they're going to either give up a big play or, you know, someone's going to score on us, which is a challenge because, you know, we have so many great players, but, you know, when we saw when Hicks was out, you know, all of a sudden Khalil Mack was not to be heard, right?
Yeah.
And so
the whole thing
obviously it talks about, you know, I mean, you're talking about team sport, which is, I think football is the ultimate team sport. But I mean, if those situations are going to happen as coaches, you need to prepare for that. And so, hey, you know, if Hicks is out, what do we do? You know, if Mack is out, what do we do?
Yeah, we never have much of a plan B. No depth.
Right.
No depth.
Right.
No depth.
Right.
And what's up with the Yeah. But let me ask you, what's up with the red zone? Why score in the red zone? Why is it was this, I mean, like if we score touchdowns instead of field goals, like we could win that game. I mean, it got away from them in the end, of course, but like
hey, our field goal kicker like broke the field goal record for the Bears or something like that.
Right? I mean,
why isn't Jimmy Graham
small victories?
But why isn't he there in every red zone play?
Right. And again, if I had the answers, I'd be on the staff, right? We do many things. But
the staff doesn't have the answer, so like maybe you could still be
You
on.
need to get on that staff, Chris.
Get on there. You don't need the answers.
Well, actually,
Start a campaign.
Right. Yeah. Right. Here's an example
on the staff.
Yeah, I wish. Well, actually, so I guess one of the things I look at, and this is before the season started, I thought was really interesting when they had the draft was virtual, right? So they had all these kind of comments and pictures and video of all these coaches and how they were during the draft and everything, right? And I don't know if you remember, and I forgot who the coach is of the Rams, but he was a new guy, I think a couple years in. And they had a photo of him in his living room, and he had a laptop in front of him. He was kind of leaning back on a couch. His shoes were propped up. He didn't have socks on, and he had this beautiful view of like mountains behind him, right? I mean, it was just a great picture, right? And you didn't know if there was like an ad for like Gucci shoes or something like that, or like some kind of high-end furniture, right? And then they showed Nagy's kind of area where he was. And from the bottom of the floor to the top of the ceiling, or to the ceiling, he had charts. He had photos. He had plays. And it covered his whole wall, like it covered like 3 of the walls that we were looking at. And I was like, what message are you sending? Like, it was a total contrast between the LA coach and how, you obviously understood that he knew he was in control. So although I think they went into it saying, hey, this will be a great picture, I mean, a great opportunity, I saw that as being chaos. Like, you had all these charts and no one else did. I mean, you looked at Belichick and he was like feeding his dog at like the dinner table or some shit. I mean, it was hilarious.
Right.
So I think that just goes to show you. And sometimes, and I think Nagy might be guilty of this, sometimes he kind of overthinks stuff. And I think he had a whole lot, he was under a lot of pressure his first year. I mean, he came out gangbusters, doing shit that we've never even heard of for a first-year Bear coach, right? And then all of a sudden, it was almost like he was too smart for the rest of the upcoming years, right? And it was like, do you really need like 60 charts when, you have an iPad in front of you? Just, draw some shit up.
They definitely did not need as many plays as he came with, particularly in that second year. It's like, dude, why?
But that was his thing, right? He was fooling people.
He had the wrong. Yeah, you can only fool them so long, especially at the end of the day, you got to have that substance,
And that's the same thing, like that coach Sean McVay you're talking about. Like, he was like that too. He's the offensive genius, and he had to realize his quarterback's limitation, Jared Goff. And so he adjusted to his situation. And, he's a genius as well, but he was like, you know what? I'm going to be a winning genius. Sometimes I think Nagy's like, I'm going to be a genius. Victory be damned. My stuff's going to work. And it doesn't with this team. You don't have the players. You don't have Patrick Mahomes and that team. So, but is there anything?
Which I think was interesting because, let me just say this part. When he first had to kind of give the reins to the offense coordinator or somebody else, I forgot who it was. But, you saw how much of a struggle that was. And, it's kind of interesting because it's like, and I'm in the corporate world now, so, I actually run searches for an executive search firm. But, you see this all the time where people, it's really hard for leaders to give up that power, right? Mm-hmm. And so then at the end of the day, like, is that a true leader, right? Yes, you have the title of head coach, but that head coach doesn't mean you got to call every play. Now, you could have some input, but, you hire people that are smarter than you.
Yes, I was just about to say, yes. All the successful leaders know to hire smart people and know I'm going to hire somebody smarter than me in this particular area.
But
and in that particular area,
that's very hard for people to give up. I mean,
Yeah.
even in our everyday lives,
I mean,
right?
Yeah.
it is, but
Don't want
like
someone to take your
you
job.
want to win or not, So Chris, what's your pick for Sunday? You going Bears? Come on, you gotta go Bears, right?
I have to go with Bears, right?
You gotta go Bears
against Clemson and Alabama, right? I mean,
of course.
I'm one of those guys that think that if everybody plays that hard, then we can eke out the victory. And the reason why, I'm only looking at historically, right? So when we played Miami, the year we won the national championship, they were ranked number 1. And they had actually won the national championship the year before. And subsequently won the year after we won. They were the Alabama of this time. They were the Kansas City Chiefs of this time. And you want to talk about the players they had? I mean, you can go down the list. I mean, they had great, amazing players. And we were ranked 4th at that time. And everybody said, you guys can get your ass kicked, you guys can get your ass kicked. But we knew that we had something special, right? We knew we had a different swag about it. We were just a different type of Notre Dame team. And we went out there, and even though the whole world said we were going to get our ass kicked, we actually beat them. And that's
was that the Catholics versus convicts?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So being part of that, I'm all about the underdog. I'm all about David and Goliath. I'm all about that one chance, that one small chance that this underrated team can actually go out and take down in Alabama, can take down a Miami, and in this case, take down a New Orleans team.
There we go. We can beat the mighty Goliath.
Yeah.
It can be done.
And it comes from me being like a 6'1" defensive tackle. Like, how does that happen, right? I mean, so I'm all about like overcoming adversity, like since I was a little kid, right? So I'm all about.
Hey, well, look, I'm only 5'9", so I'm definitely all about some adversity. And I'm from Chicago, so we forever will have some sort of chip on our shoulder about something, everything.
Chris, before we let you go, what do you have coming up? Anything we should be looking out for? Anything you have coming up? Anything you're doing?
Actually, yeah. So I have a podcast as well, and we actually I concentrate on Notre Dame, former Notre Dame players, and folks can just kind of check that out on YouTube. If they just search for Zorich on there. And actually this coming Thursday, I'm going to have Rocket Ishmael. And in the past, I've had folks like Jerome Bettis, who y'all know, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. And I think one of my most interesting interviews was Rocky Blyer. I don't know if you guys may know him, but he actually went to Notre Dame and actually graduated from Notre Dame. He was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers and wound up going and also getting drafted in serving in Vietnam. And he served 3 years there. And at one point saw enemy fire and wound up losing half of his foot. And living a long story short, came back and started for the Pittsburgh Steelers for 4 years, and they wound up winning winning 4 Super Bowls. So I'm not really a stats guy. Like, I can't tell you how many sacks I had, but I'm all about kind of like the underdog making good. And so what we do on our podcast kind of talk about like, what's that motivation, right? Like, what's that leadership? Who are your mentors? And really trying to kind of, yes, we're kind of a concentrated Notre Dame podcast, Notre Dame football podcast, but our message is about, overcoming adversity or, what is leadership, which is a huge kind of catchphrase now. And also, what's it like to be in a winning culture? And how does one change a bad culture? And so, having a chance to kind of share those experiences with folks on my podcast, I think is really kind of a fun time. And then we also kind of throw in a couple stories. And I think one of the funny things, we had a quarterback named Tony Rice, who was our national championship quarterback. And he had some academic challenges coming into Notre Dame, but he started for 3 years and I think lost maybe 3 games total, wound up winning the national championship. And he is the last national championship quarterback that we had, which was in 1988. And he came from a small town in South Carolina called Woodruff. And so one of the things we talk about is how he ended up at Notre Dame. So it's great. I've done about 30 podcasts, so it's really cool. So folks can just check that out. That'd be really cool.
Okay.
Great.
Cool. Absolutely.
Definitely check it out.
Yeah.
All right, man. That sounds
And
awesome.
I apologize, Terrence. You didn't have a chance to ask a lot of questions because I talk so much, but I'm hoping maybe you have one more. Apologize.
Oh,
No, you answered everything we wanted.
yeah.
Great.
You pretty much answered everything we wanted to know.
So I have one question for you guys. Since you guys are Chicago folks, I mean, what high school did you guys go to?
Well, I went to Mount Carmel my freshman year.
Okay.
And then I went to Moorpark Academy after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went to Chicago High School for Agricultural Sciences.
Who?
So, okay. My freshman year, I went to Hillcrest because I was in Country Club Hills. Then
There
we-
you go.
and
Actually,
then,
my wife and I just moved to Crete, so we're out in the southern.
oh,
suburbs.
okay.
Right on.
And then I finished sophomore to senior year, Chaz, Chicago High School for Agricultural Sciences. So it was the only farm in Chicago at the time.
There you go. All right.
St. Ignatius, class of
You
'94.
one of the pretty smart boys, huh? Damn. Man. What year did you get there?
I got there in '90.
Okay. All
Came
right.
out.
Yeah.
I rep the '94 still to this day.
I went to Robert A. Black for grammar school.
Okay,
A whole bunch of the guys from Robert A. Black
Yeah.
went over to Ignatius, so that's why I kind of give you guys a hard time.
Oh yeah. I used to hang out in that park over there. Yeah.
Well, small
Absolutely,
world. All right,
man.
well, guys, had a great time. Thank you.
Hey
Thank you
man,
very much. Appreciate it.
great talking to you, man, and thank you so much for taking the time. And we're gonna blast out where to go watch your blog as well. Like I'll have that for when I show a broadcast and everything.
Yeah.
Warm clubhouse welcome, the big man, Mr. Chris Zorich.
Yeah.
All right, well, big ups and big thanks to Mr. Chris Zorich, Southeast Side Zone, to be exact, former Chicago Bear as well. So, as per usual, it is time for the clubhouse predictions. Who wants to kick it off? Who kicked it off last week? Kristen?
I think T-Nick did.
All right.
I'm picking the Bears. I'm picking a lower score. So 24-21 Bears. Cairo Santos wins it.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of hard on the Bears. I've been kind of hard on the Bears for the past few weeks. That's not going to change. I'm still going to be harder on the Bears because I'm losing faith. They're my guys, but I'm losing faith. But I think they'll put up a good fight, but they'll still lose probably like 17-14.
17-14.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're expecting a good showing by that defense. Let's hope so. Yeah, that Roquan thing though is concerning.
Very.
It's no official word, but that's what Brad Biggs heard.
Yeah. All right. That's not good. But we'll see what happens. But I'm a homer, so I'm gonna just go with the Bears, and I'm gonna agree with you, Christian, on a field goal. If they win, it's gonna be like by the skin of their teeth. They're gonna have to 3-point him to death. You know what I mean? Because that's their specialty.
I hope we don't have a Cody
It's a
Parkey.
barrage of threes. No sevens, just threes and shit. So let's hope they get enough threes was visible by 3. Like,
8. So they had 8 field goals to get to 24.
24. So let's say 24. 8 field goals. Yes. 8 field goals. What? That is very possible. 8 field goals, 24 points. Bears win 24-23.
I hope you're right.
I hope I am too, but I don't know shit. So I'm usually wrong about these things. Been picking the Bears all year. But hey, all right. So before we go, just want to take the time to send a thank you to everybody who has watched over this past many weeks, over this whole regular season of Chicago Bear football. Through even the bad times, we had good things to talk about, and even with the ups and downs, it made for interesting fodder, if you'd say. So, myself, Emilio Bucks, is just stepping away for a going on a hiatus myself. T. Nick, with some assistance from Christopher T, they're going to be holding it down with some new episodes. So the show's not stopping. I'm just, I'm stopping for a minute. But T. Nick, I believe you had something you wanted to say.
I wanted to give a shout out, or rah as I call it, to some of the groups that supported us. Since the first time that I shouted groups, it got larger, then it got smaller, then it got larger. And it got smaller because some, like I said on the last episode, when I rocked with Deshaun, some of them left. They didn't support us anymore because they thought that I was a turncoat. Yeah. Anyway, I don't give a fuck about that. But so I won't be able to mention all the groups because there's a lot of groups that are supporting us.
Well, let's just talk about the good ones. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Life's too short to even talk about.
Keeping it 100, feeling shame, the amends there. Chicago, Atlanta, the Bears Nation, Robin and Chad. We got some new ones, Chicago headquarters. I don't know who's the admin there. Then I am embarrassed with Shane, and then Loki. He has a lot of groups, but we just really appreciate all the support and people watching and watching again, even if it's for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. And signing out for the Chicago Clubhouse, this is Emilio Bucks on behalf of Kristen Petit and the notorious T. Nick. Forever and a day, go Chicago, bear down.